Let's have a look at one example of a PN junction where I would like to show how these total charges are calculated. These are the formulas written for line charge distribution, that is one dimensional distribution of charge. This is the total charge to be calculated when the charge is distributed in two dimension, that is on surface, and here is the total charge distributed inside a region, inside a space, and then we need to define this, that is charge density, that is charge per unit volume. Suppose this is a familiar PN junction. I'm not going into the details of it because this is a very basic thing in electronics. We know that in the P side and in the N side we have a space charge region. Here in the N side positive charges accumulate here, and here in the P side negative charges accumulate here. Now this region is called the space charge region. We assume for the simplicity of our calculation, of these integrals, this is to be a linear charge distribution. That is, this charge distribution is varying only along x. No y and z variation is here. Let us look into this. This is a very bad drawing. But here in y-axis, along this we have plotted charge density, and this is the spatial dimension x, that is this distance from the junction. This is the junction point. This must be 0. This must be 0. Along x direction, this plus charge, this charge is distributed up to 0 to xn0, and this minus charges in the space charge region, that is on the P side, is distributed from 0 to minus P0. Now QND is the charge density, that is charge per unit volume on the N side, and this minus QNA is the charge per unit volume on the P side. That's why this is minus and this is plus. Now if we want to calculate the total charge in this volume, or maybe in this volume, I have calculated the total charge in the P side, total charge in the space charge region on the P side, which I have calculated like this. Now as I have mentioned that there is no variation of charge in along y and z direction, so these are for the sake of simplicity, these are taken as of dimension 1. So z and y integrations are running from 0 to 1, and this is the integration on x, and this must run from here to here, that is the lower limit must be minus x p0 and upper limit must be 0 of x. So here it should be x p0. It looks a little clumsy, and after the integration I have found this is total charge here, that is total charge in the space charge region of P side of the PN junction, and we have calculated it as QP equal to minus QNA x P0. Whereas if we calculate this similarly for N side, then the integration will run from 0 to xn0. Y and z dimensions are again 1. So total charge here in the space charge region of N side will come out like this. Let's look at this term in the Coulomb formula. We know that the force between two charges vary as 1 upon r square. That is, if r gets double, the force gets 1 by 4 times that of its previous value. Now this 1 by r square term is fully experimental, and Charles Augustine Coulomb actually postulated this dependence on the distance r from experiment, where he did the experiments with torsional pendulum, and there he measured the magnitude of the two forces. And one more thing I would like to add, that force is something bizarre quantity. If I say that the force varies as 1 by r square, that makes no sense. We need to also specify its direction of motion. For example, if I have this cup, and if I press it, it will not move. But if I pull it, it will move. So I need to specify not only the magnitude but also the direction in which I am applying the force. There is a constant term epsilon 0. Epsilon 0 is called the permittivity of free space, that is vacuum, and its value is 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12 farad per meter. This 10 to the power minus 12 farad can be called as picofarad also, or you may write it as small p capital F. Now farad is something which is the unit to write the capacitance. It is something like that. We will be discussing it. Now this epsilon must be inserted here when we are dealing with free space. But for other mediums like dielectrics, this epsilon 0 must be written must be replaced by epsilon 0, epsilon r. So if I want to write this Coulomb's law in a dielectric, I need to write 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, epsilon r, r square. Now what is epsilon r? Epsilon r is the force between the two charges while they are in vacuum, and force between the two charges when they are in a medium. Ratio of the two forces gives us this epsilon r. And finally, for this lecture, we have this magnitude, we have this force, or the magnitude, both magnitude and direction, because if we need to specify a force, we need to specify both magnitude and direction. F2 is the push experienced by Q2 due to Q1, because here our test charge is Q2 and our source is Q1. And by doing vector analysis, we know that this NR is the unit vector from Q1 to Q2, and magnitude of this NR is equal to 1. And if we want to specify the unit vector from Q2 to Q1, we need to write this as minus NR.